take a look back at your first job that you had and think about the tasks that you had to do and for only getting paid for the bare minimum. Now, imagine if you're doing that same job and getting paid $15 an hour. It would completely change your view on that job, right? But it's the sacrifices that is given up to get you that $15 an hour what truly matters. Today, I'll be talking about why the minimum wage should not be changed to $15 an hour. I believe, although it does seem nice to be paid a decent rate, that there are far more negatives that outweigh the positives to be paid $15 an hour, such as the loss of jobs, potentially the loss of businesses, and for inflation. The first reason that the minimum wage should not be raised is the fact of the lost jobs. According to Vox.com, there is a large range of potential job losses. It ranges from none to 3.7 million jobs. So they decided to take the median and call it about 1.7 million. So that is just a really wide range, and they really don't have any way to measure if the jobs are even going to be lost or they are going to gain more jobs or anything like that. I believe that this is a large majority of big businesses that do not want to give raises to their employees. So big businesses would more than likely cut off people to make up for the $15 an hour. People that run companies want to save and make as much money as possible, and they will try to figure out the best way to do so. Companies will either have to downsize or raise their prices. Restaurants will have the worst time with the $15 an hour to be raised, because usually they are already short staffed, and if their minimum wage was to be rose, they would have to cut back on people and raise the prices and potentially lose their business. So on the second fact, this comes into my second point of lost business. Yes, I know that many of you will say that business will more than likely be able to afford giving people a little more money, but I'm not talking about corporations. I'm talking about the mom and pop type stores, such as restaurants, stores, gas stations, or anything that you can think of that is small. Growing up in a small town, there were so many small mom and pop stores like restaurants, and I know for a fact that from experience, people are working their overtime, and they are struggling to pay them as it is right now. And if they were to raise the minimum wage, there would be so many job losses in Michigan. Here's a story. A girl named Tara Oxley owns two businesses and a restaurant and a store. She says that she struggles with having only 10 bartenders and servers that got a raise from $1.15 to $8.65 an hour, and has to go without pay just so she can pay her employees. The CEOs of companies will have a great loss, and they will have to sacrifice their own pay to just make up for the pay of their employees, because they care about their employees more than themselves. They want to give their employees as much to keep them there. Last, people will need to account for the inflation increase. If the minimum wage was to raise to $15 an hour by the year 2025, inflation will have caused prices to spike so much that $15 an hour will not cover the inflation. According to Bloomberg.com, that $15 worth will only be $11.62 in 2025. They say if people want to truly make the minimum wage become a livable wage, then they will have to raise the minimum wage to $18.87 per hour, because that counts for inflation and the price range raises for the fact of farmers and restaurants to just even live. The government is very far behind accounting for inflation in their minimum wage. I will admit that. Minimum wage, that it is going to take years to catch back up, because businesses are so used to paying their workers the wage that they are right now. So they will have to, it's going to take years to catch back up. In conclusion, I have gave you my reasons to why the minimum wage should not be raised to $15 an hour. I will admit that the minimum wage should be raised to a decent amount, about like $11, to help the families that are in need, but it will not offset the businesses to drown in their own debt, so just so they can pay their workers.